Shalom, shalom. That's one of the things that I learned from The Chosen, among many, many, many others. This is only part of my costume. I was in it. I was in the background of The Chosen three times, and I had winter costumes, which is what this is and what the picture is, and then I had summer costumes. And as the weather got hotter and hotter, I started taking off layers and layers. And there's one really funny picture that I'll include in one of these chosen videos to show you what I look like. I look like my wealthy friends had stopped on the way to listen to Jesus and bought a slave, and they hadn't paid much for her. And that was me. That was me. Anyway, the first time I went as background, it's called background acting, but we basically just followed directions and stood there and tried not to look at the camera. Actually, it wasn't hard. They said when Jesus comes out, don't look at the camera. No problem. It was really easy because our eyes were focused directly on the actor, Jonathan Remy, who was playing Jesus. In February of 2022, I traveled to Texas. I'd already been a Chosen fan for a couple of years by that time, and I was well embroiled in the fan club and everything else. But in 2022, in February, if you remember right, that was COVID time. So we had to be tested over and over and over again. We had 3 COVID tests, one at home, and they had to be recent results. Then another one at when we got to Texas, and a third one in the parking lot before we boarded the tour bus to be taken to the set. And we were well taken care of, so well taken care of, and it was such an experience, such a wonderful, such a heartwarming experience. I wanted to do it again right away. Everybody did, even though we were freezing to death at the time. Anyway, we got to the set and they had set up tents for us, for warming tents and stuff. And there was hot chocolate and coffee and breakfast and whatever you wanted. There were also tables and chairs like a picnic. Unfortunately, they were coated in ice. Now, this had not happened until just prior to our arrival, but we had everything we needed, and we got settled and, said hello to each other. People who never met before became fast friends that day. And people who I had met on the internet, the same thing was true. I fell in love with them right away, and they liked me too. And we made friendships that have lasted to this day and will last beyond, I'm sure. Anyway, the first thing I heard was a bullhorn saying, we need people to walk down over a hill. And remember now, this was early in the morning. It was cold. The fog was around. I've got some pictures of that too. Everything was foggy, and we were just following directions to walk in a group down over the hill. Well, I went. Of course, I went. I hadn't come there to sit in a warming tent, but you had to take your socks off, and that was my downfall, because we had to look normal. We had to look like natural pilgrims, and unfortunately, the first century folks did not wear socks with their sandals. So I took my socks off, and immediately my toes froze. They gave us hand warmers, and I stuffed them under my feet, under my toes, and my sandals. Anyway, we walked back and forth a couple times, and then we were served a lunch. And later we were asked to walk down to the set again and told where to camp. Now, there was a stage set up ahead in the front, and an overhead camera on a boom, and everybody was supposed to gather around this stage. Well, I decided that the first shall be last and the last shall be first, and I thought, I don't need to be in the front. It's just enough to be here. I'll go to the back. I'll choose a place in the back, and I'll let the other people have the front seats. And it turned out that was my blessing for me, because before the filming started, they brought out a trailer and they parked it right behind me. And it was a flatbed trailer, and out walks Phil Wickham, Carrie Joby, Cody Carnes, and a band, and they get up on this trailer, and the announcement is, everybody turn around. The first will be last. And the last people in the back were standing right in front of that trailer. I was within 10 feet of Phil Wickham. And it was wonderful because they sang the blessing over the filming. And everybody was singing and raising their hands. It was like a day-long revival. It was wonderful. And Carrie Joby got up there before she sang and coined a phrase. She said, "We were the Frozen Chosen." And we've been the Frozen Chosen ever since. Anyway, at the end, after all that filming was done, the cast came out and greeted everybody, and they were really impressed with the turnout too, because we were all fans. We hadn't been paid to be there. We had paid to be there. We had made our own costumes. We had done everything that we could to make it authentic. And for the most part, 99.9%, we were all doing what we should do and behaving the way we should behave. And up in the sky, the clouds were thick, and it was so cold. It was below zero, below freezing, with a wind chill that brought it down to 22 and 18. And that sounds warm to me right now because I was so cold. Anyway, people helped me up and helped me stand. I had crapped out before the final, but I know exactly what happened because I have friends who reported it to me. The cast came out in the front and greeted everybody, and Dallas Jenkins said, "That's a wrap." And as soon as he did, the sleet started to fall. It waited. It waited for The Chosen. And if you have not watched The Chosen, I highly recommend it. I'm in the Sermon on the Mount and the feeding of the 5,000, and that's a whole other story. The feeding of the 5,000, hot fish, hot bread, a whole other story. But I will be back. Watch The Chosen. It's on Prime, and they have their own app. So I'm looking forward to your telling me how much you enjoyed it and how much it blessed you. And I want to bless you too. Goodbye.